So if movement is a primary food and movement is happening in a world that is free to be as it is, and a world that often doesn't seem to share our concerns for what we want, we come up against things called movement problems, and we come up against things called injuries, and we come up against things called trauma, right? And those things are remembered. And if they are pleasant, we seek them, and if they are painful, we avoid them. And the body is not designed to find the truth of a situation. The universe hasn't designed the human to be concerned with an accurate scientific representation of what's going on in the world. That's not where all of your motivation comes from. That's not where everything is about. What it's about is feel like it's worth it, get up out of bed, floss your teeth again, though you're bored, you don't want to do it anymore, go to work, get it done, survive, reproduce, find somebody who loves you, be in a community. And you can do that in suboptimal functional situations. Like people are chronically sick, right, their entire lives. People have colitis for their entire lives, and they have decent lives. That's a compensation. Living with suboptimal function. And so we're going to talk about, well, you can't separate out the nervous system, from all of this stuff, but a compensation is a situation of inefficiency when it comes to all things being equal in the body. If all things being equal and someone has good development and good nutrition and they've been loved on right, they function pretty well. But when the body receives an insult, and that insult can come in the form of physical trauma, it can come in the form of emotion, it can come in the form of language, things that are said to people, it can come in the form of the memory of other things. The tension and tone profile in the body will change and get set in a particular pattern that is less efficient than optimal functioning, and that screwed up pattern is designed to allow you to ignore it. It's designed to allow you to keep on going and tolerate whatever discomfort is there and continue to present yourself as a person who is worthy of communal acceptance, a person who can do what is needed to be done, and so on. So there are all kinds of specific compensations, but when I think about the basic idea, that's what I'm talking about. So some examples of specific compensations, right, that I have seen or had to deal with. Back pain is one that you're probably going to come across. Many studies that Dr. McGill has been involved in involve ferreting out compensations that result from a certain degree of back injury or a certain chronicity of back injury, like someone who's had, say, back pain almost every day for a year, for 2 years, some degree of back pain. It gets a little better, right? It gets a little worse, gets a little better, gets a little worse, stays around. They work at a factory. Very often you find that they have delayed onset activation in their glutes. So their butt doesn't work anymore as a result of some kind of back pain. And that it might be where it started. It might go further than that. Oftentimes also you see that they're latissimus. One of the major stiffeners of the back, one of the major support systems for the back is not online, or if it does come online in an activity where it's needed, it comes online late. It doesn't come online right away. So what you guys should consider yourself as is the offspring of the best compensators that there were. All the people that came before you, all your ancestors, unless they had a really lucky, awesome, life, if they had the normal diseases and arthritic conditions and degradations, they were tough enough, right, to not pay attention to those and get used to them and to keep moving. I think of the inability of people to achieve full hip extension in something like bridge without moving the sternum, Right? I think of all these movement profiles, and these have been created by our sitting, in our cultural situation, and also by our shoes. I think of the need for the foundation training. I think of the fact that the posterior chain has been essentially shut off for long periods of time because shoes have tipped you forward. Compensation is also adaptation. I guess you could just say that. It's adapting to a particular circumstance.